Hello friends, thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, Sunset Peonies, and the picture that you just saw was the one that my daughter take ourselves when we were in University of Florida last week, and there was their pond down there, and the crane was not very shy because we were actually quite close to it, and so I decided to come home and make a painting of it, and because I also had the chance to practice the drawing when I was there, and so I am very grateful you come and have fun with us. And so I left you off at the end of this painting. I didn't do these water lily, and these ones I think was not put in, and I wasn't sure, so that's what I did. And I kind of smooth out things a lot, and while we were painting, the beak was a little bit lost, and so what I did is I will try to zoom in, okay, see if you can see that. And this part was actually kind of gone, but the nice thing is look like the beak is going into the water, and so I kind of just straightened it a little bit and just kind of left it that way. I kind of like it that way, and so I hope you guys like it too. And as usual, this painting, the drawing of the crane and some of the outline shape of the water lily will be in a line drawing on this blog post on sunsetpeony.com, and you can just go over there and trace it or whatever you need to help you so that you can get started with it without a lot of stress. And as usual, I put some thought into it sorry, and make sure that I'm able to do the background one area at a time, so that you don't have to take on the whole background all at once. To be a little bit overwhelming, and so I do put thoughts into doing things like that to so that it will make it easier to paint along with me. And so I hope you enjoy it. And like I will tell you in the beginning of when I start painting, these are the brushes that I use, and I am going to also do the product that I use. I guess it seems like people wanted to know what I use. I usually just dive into a painting because, you know, whenever I upload a video about once a week, you guys can just go into painting with me. But I think that so many people had emailed me and asked me questions, and I keep answering them. But I think I'll just do one, and so that you can do what kind of supply I use, and then I can just refer people to that. But anyway, this has been really quite fun, and I talk about a lot of things about China, and where my father's little village was, and what do they do over there, and about water lily and all the techniques. So, and all the information also with the color that I use, and will also be on the blog post. But you know, of course, as you paint along with me, you will see it, and you know, we will talk about it. And so what I'm going to do is sign this painting, and then I would not hold you here in the intro for too long, and just let you get started with the painting. Okay, thank you so much, and please subscribe to me, and I will see you soon. Hello, let's get started with our crane. I'm thinking about I will include the inspiration for this little guy in the beginning. I think that will be really fun. Okay, now today mainly these three brush. This is the very little one that I need to. It's called HO0. I need to include that in the product list. And this is my number 2 that I've used for a long time, Jackson. And then this my old trusty Happy Dot. I still have not break into my new one yet. I'm just like that. You know, I prepare everything, and then I, you know, and then I knew, oh, okay, I need to you know, prepare my, you know, break out the new brush, and I don't do that. Okay, now let's start with this little tiny brush, okay? Now, so we can talk and then we can visit and paint at the same time. Okay, I think that I wanted to start with the crane, and so what I did is I go into a little bit of indigo right here, okay? And then I go into my pinks gray and just kind of mix the color on the palette because, you know, since the crane is really a white bird, right? And so what we're doing now is just painting the shadow, okay? And so it's very, so I just get liking this brush after I use it for a little while. And so I'm going to just use that, okay? Now, so what I do is like, because it's very sharp, right? And so I I go clean my brush off, and then I'm coming in to just, you know, because this is a shadow, okay? So I don't want a lot of sharp line. So most of the shadow that we're doing today is going to be just kind of soft, okay, on the crane, so it doesn't look too sharp, okay? Now this is her other shoulder, or her, yeah, let's call this crane her other shoulder, or the wing shoulder. And so, you know, we need a little line right here to separate it. And as we paint, you will see the bird will be just kind of unfolding. And so now what I'm going to do is I will do the neck over here, okay? Now the same color, just a little bit of indigo, okay? And so I'm going along the line, okay? And so this bird, this little crane drawing will be, of course, available at my blog, sunsetpeony.com, and you can just go over there and fetch the drawing, okay? And so after the drawing, this really is kind of like a relaxing little painting. It'll be kind of fun for you, okay? But still, it'll be enough to help you to focus and, you know, just have a little escape. I'm doing all these like little painting, you know, as sometimes I give a little bit more thought into it because, you know, I really wanted it to be, you know, not too stressful, you know, for you guys, so that you can just go at your own speed of learning, okay? And so I don't I'll try not to, as much as I can, not to put things that are very challenging. I know drawing is challenging, and so that's why I'm doing that, okay? I'm kind of intensify this area a little bit because, you know, and this will, because I intensify it, show the form, right? So the neck of the crane is not just like a little rectangle over here, you know, because of the shadow that we're putting in here, it'll make it more like a round stick, round tube, or round floaties. The floaties that the kids use nowadays. You know, actually, I'm an adult and I use that too. Shouldn't call them just the kids using them, right? Okay, now there's a bone right here of the neck, and so I'm gonna go in and put a little bit of shadow over there, okay? So that, you know, you can see the bone structure. Okay, it's kind of coming in like that, okay? Of the crane. I hope you can see it. I am sure you can see it. I have so much light shining. I have the natural sunlight out there. It's about 10 o'clock here now, and then I have 2,500 lumen, I think that's what you call it, shining on this painting, you know. And so when you okay, so let me tell you this, and I'm just gonna put like light stroke over here just to suggest that, you know, the neck, the bone inside the bird, right? Okay, so when you do painting, it's not too bright because the camcorder can zoom in, and so I decided to use the camcorder. But however, the camcorder causes itself a little bit of problem. They are not as bright as what I used to use my iPhone to film. But with my iPhone, I can't really zoom in and get a really sharp image. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of shadow over here, okay? And the shadow is nothing but underneath the feather, okay? So I'm just going to just put the color in, and so I'm going into my water here, rinse my brush really fast, and come in with just a little dam of a brush and soften it, okay? Now the reason why I picked this today is because I just come back. I don't know if you guys realize that I posted my turtle painting, and that was the last one. And because I had to, and so I don't tell you guys before I go. I just went to Florida. I went through Houston and went to Florida. Now what I'm doing here is just doing shadow, okay? So you can see me do the line, and I come back in with a clean brush and soften the line, okay? And that will give us the shadow that we need, because we are painting a white bird, and white bird, just like white flower, okay? We need to paint the shadow. We need to know the form, and sometimes not so much of the bone structure, but we do need to know them so that we can, because when you paint human, okay, I'm going to put a little bit of shadow over here, okay? When you paint human, okay, so it's nothing but just a line, okay, with the paint spray, and then I'm going to just come in and soften it. When, you draw or paint human, they have all those muscle. It's very important, whatever animal you paint, that you need to know the structure of the bird, so you can, because unless the bird is a very happy bird that eat lots of good food, which they do, some of them, but some of them, if they live among the city, like, the bird that's outside the bakery store, sometimes they're quite chubby. And so you don't see a lot of bone structure. But wild birds like this, they don't get fat, they're not in the zoo, and so they're quite skinny. Well, I guess people do go down, but I think cranes are very, very shy. We have two big, huge cranes in our canyon over here, in the Provo Canyon, and so, it's so hard to see them. You don't get to see them. They don't come out. They don't come out and say hi much, but I know that there's a couple, because one time I was up there just doing some, hiking, or maybe I was painting. I heard gunshot. I know that the hunter, I need to be kind. I know that the hunter not hunting the crane, but the crane got really scared. And so the canyon where they were hiding, they just flew out of the canyon. It was two huge birds, and they were so beautiful. Now, at this point, I'm going to do some of the shadow, and I need to follow the feathery structure, okay? So instead of making the long feather over here, these are shorter feathers, so I need to do that, okay? So to be more true, and it's so faint. So I just wanted you to know that when you are painting, you can do it faintly, okay? And that's not a problem. Okay, so I can suggest those feathers over there, and you can see them. Because feather, as they overlap, and they do overlap, they cast shadow on each other. And that's why we can paint them. Because, as you look at a crane, they're not just plain white, right? Anyway, so this is what we're going to be doing for the next little bit, okay? And so nothing but pick up some color, and then pick up, clean the brush out, and don't flick water everywhere, and trying to soften it, okay? So they're just shadow. We're not painting the feather. We're painting the shadow of the feather. Yeah, that is a better explanation. I'm glad I finally get my head together. And so, yeah, I was gone. And so what I did is I take my daughter and her husband down to the school. My husband is, my daughter's husband is going to get his PhD in University of Florida, right? And so it's a very happy thing for them. They did very well and get accepted to do cybersecurity. So he know everything about cybersecurity, right? Wow, I have all these people in my family. My sister is a lawyer, and now my son-in-law is going to be in cybersecurity, and so I'm all set, right? And they do help me a lot, and with computer stuff, right? And so my website was down because they my son-in-law is so smart. He has his own server, and so what he does is he actually run my website with his server, and it's very nice. But we had this big part of a mainframe. I guess I don't want to take time to explain to you, but that was disconnected because it was in the car, and so we were just driving with that thing in our car, and it was really fun. And And so now, as soon as we get there, he somehow get himself all set up, you know, get some really good Wi-Fi. And so now my website, and my daughter has changed a couple of little things on my website. Now it's up and good as new. It's so fun to have those kids, you know, do things like that. Now, the head of the crane is an egg, right? So now my shadow is going to make him an egg. So I'm going to put some shadow over here. Okay, it looks like it's his cheek, but you know, it's just to help him become more like the egg shape. Okay. Okay, of the you know, when it's all done, it will come together and you will like it, hopefully. Okay, so now over here there's a big part of the wing, okay, right here, and then there's the bottom part of the feather, the wing feather. So I'm just gonna put a couple more over here, and then I'm done. Because you know what, we also always, when I was doing the white flower with you guys, right? Okay, so because we're painting the crane, and the crane is I don't like the direction of that feather that I just draw, so I'm gonna, you know, the crane is, you know, it's lucky for us, we can paint shadow, right? But if we let ourselves keep going, then we will eventually turn this crane into a pink spray crane, and we don't want to do that, okay? We don't want to, we wanted to maintain its integrity and make it, you know, maintain that it is white bird, okay? And so not too much on the body. I think I'm quite done with the body. I'm coming down here, okay? Now, with the Chinese discipline, we really paint crane a lot. And I'm working on something right now. I'm actually working on, to think about how to go about doing that. I wanted to, because I know there's a lot of stuff we can learn from the traditional Chinese painting, and so I'm trying to do it in a way that I know that you guys are probably not very excited. Maybe there will be a couple of you who could be excited about learning how to paint in the Chinese way, but mainly you know you can hardly get your hands on the okay, that there should be some feather over here, and so we indicate that. Okay, now there's the back part of the leg, okay, so we need to, you know, there's this big muscle here before the sticky part, okay, and so we need to make sure that you can see that, okay, and so I'm going to, you know, see how I can do that in relation to what we do here, so that you guys can learn how to, you know, or paint with me, okay, how to do that kind of painting. Now, I wanted to explain a little bit with the foot part, okay. I use a Micron PN because this is a waterproof brush, right? So once I draw it right here, then it's totally waterproof. Now, why do I want to do that? Because we're gonna do water lilies down here, right? There should be already right now over here. There should be a painting you can paint along, right, with me, or the finished painting. And so I put this in with the Micron, and so that the color will stay. Because as I'm playing down here, which is the really fun part that we're going to do in a minute, we don't want anything to move, especially at the outside, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm using the same little brush and going into the sepia painting, okay? Now these little brushes are only $6 from the Oriental Art Supply, if they know how much I advertise for them. And so you can just, like, you know, pick up more if you wanted to. Now I don't know how durable they are. Maybe they will be just as durable, but it's a new. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting some sepia color on the, just to little bit emphasize the leg part, okay? But all the while leaving some white as highlight, okay? So that you can see that it's not just a stick. It is, you know, it's all about the form, right? Okay. Now there's a, you know, all the crane has a little knuckles over here, you know, to break up the top part and the bottom part, right, of the bony part of the, and then we have to paint that. So I paint a lot of cranes when I was many years ago when I was doing Chinese painting. I really enjoyed that. So painting cranes doesn't bother me. Now, I need to go back to why I do this, because as I was going through the that's the first time I went all the way down to Florida in my whole life, okay? I've been to Houston, and so I know Houston, but I don't know Florida. No, have I been to Houston? No, I've been to San Antonio, sorry, in Texas. And so I just went to Houston. You know why? Because my family, with all the grandchildren, are there. So I got to go to see them, you know, and play with them. And I was very, very happy as soon as... Hi, Dan, and hi, Will, if you guys are watching, because they watch my video. You know, the first time you know, as soon as I get in, my grandson gave me a present of a rock, and so I was very happy. I really miss those kids. They live so far away, and I'm so busy, so I don't, you know, travel a lot. But since I'm taking my daughter, the youngest one, and her husband down, so that's very, very, very fun. We get to stop by Houston to see them. We call them the fatties because they are, you know, they're just very cute. And that's our nickname. You know, with Chinese, you need to give nicknames. Now, we're going on to the beaks, okay? And so, you know, you will see that with this line drawing, right? And they're called fatties because we just love them. And, you know, with Chinese people, if you love someone, you must give them a nickname. If you don't get a nickname from your Chinese friend, now, sometimes they might not tell you what your nickname is because, you know, nickname usually... you know, I don't know. American will think that it's kind of crude, but the Chinese give nickname on the with the most obvious flaws of the person. And so I don't, you know, I'll tell you some other time what my nickname is when I was young. My brother give me the nickname, but my father called my brother Big Dummy, you know, because you know, he make mistake all the time, and it really is just an affection thing, you know. And so we don't, you know, take offense. But then my brother gave me my nickname, which was like totally just crude, and so it's okay. I grew up with them; they are just like that. But I do love my brother a lot. You know, he's the one that I talk about that takes so good care of my mother and my father when they were old. You know, he has a very kind heart, but geez, he's very obnoxious, very, very obnoxious, so you just need to not take offense from him, you know. He's a big supporter of my art. He really thinks that my arts are wonderful. I'm very, very grateful for him. And I need to go see him too, you know, pretty soon, but anyway, so we call our grandkids the fatties, you know, and just because it's just an affection thing, okay, and not mean or anything, you know, because you love someone so much, just you know, I don't know, maybe that's the way, the best way I can explain it, you know, you love someone so much that you don't use their name very much, you know, you just like give them nickname. That's how we do things. Okay, I'm very, very happy with this, you know. And so I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you so you can see, hopefully. Okay. Okay. And that's what I did, okay? Now, there's like the dark part right here, and then there's some highlight, okay? That's the bottom part of the beaks, and then the sharpness of it, okay? So you can see that a little bit. But I can't film on this level of zoomness because it will just... it won't be as clear, you know, so I need to, you know, back it up just a little bit, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now just leave this alone, okay? Because I'm very, very happy with how our crane turned out. But in order for the crane to look good, you know, we're going to be using the background, right? And so as I'm going through the background, you will see how this is going to come to life, okay? Now, there's a group of lotus over here, or water lily, you can call that. And there's another group of water lily over there, and there's some here and there, okay? So what the inspiration is you know, okay, I'm going to focus and tell you guys what happened. Okay, so we went down to the to take them to their school, right? To University of Florida, and so and as we go, okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to use my trusty happy dot. Okay, I'm going into, this is the perlene green and this is sap green. Okay, and mix them just a little bit, okay, and then we're gonna use the indigo and gray and all kinds of color and even maybe a little bit of yellow, okay. Now, so what I'm gonna do is like I'm just slowly gonna pull the shadow down, okay. So I'm going in here, and so as we paint the shadow, okay, I'm gonna come back in here to intensify it, okay. As we paint the shadow, you will see the bird, right? The bird will stand out very well, okay? So what I'm going to do is just keep doing that and keep doing the background and use the background, okay? So I want this area to be right under the bird, right? To be a little more dark, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm using quite high intensity of the perlene green to go in there. Now, so what are we looking at here is just, you can call it a pond, but I saw a lot of crane on the bayou as we were driving through. Okay, so I fall in love with the bayou in a way because my daughter is pregnant. Okay, so she has all these she had all these hormone in her that okay, so I'm doing one little section at a time, okay, and I wanted you to follow me because if you do that, then it will not be as overwhelming, okay. And so the mosquito really love her and just attack her almost the whole time, okay. Now, so as I come down here, you can see that the color is a little bit less intense, okay. I'm using the sap green color, okay. Now, because I'm doing one section, over here, I should be consistent, right? So when I go back over here, I hope I can show you that I'm consistent. Okay, so as we go, we'll kind of drop some perlene green, and it's very fun because the detail is all done on the bird, okay? Right now, we're just using watercolor and having fun, okay? And so dropping the color, and so you guys don't worry about, you know, because we're painting the water, right? And so like a pond or a bayou, and so you don't have to worry about your bayou that you're painting will not be exactly like my bayou, right? And so don't worry about it too much, okay? About saying that like this, my green is not exactly where Kathy's green is, you know, because this is a pond. You are allowed to, you know, put whether you wanted to do your green, okay? So just have a little fun. Now we're coming into what we call the water lily now, okay? So we need to go around it, and I will have the drawing for you, and so that you can not accurately, okay? Just the best that you can going around it, and you'll see why I say that in a minute, okay? So now, can you see that there's a shape of a water lily? Okay, I'm gonna drop a little bit of a darker so you can see that, okay? So that's the shape, okay, of the water lily, okay? And so you come over here, and then as the paint is still wet, then you can just leave a little bit of a space here for the water lily to show up, okay? And so let's keep going. And so I see all these crane in Florida, and I just, you know, of course, you know, I love, you know, seeing the animal outside as I was driving by, and it was the bayou, and so it was just really, really hot, okay? And so I'm telling myself I'm not getting out of the car to feed mosquito. My daughter and I, we were in two separate cars, you know, because we rented a van to help them with their meager possession, little bit of a worldly possession they have left. Okay, because they sold some of their stuff, most of their stuff. It's very, very expensive right now to rent U-Haul. And so we decided to rent a van. And so because we have now, I'm pulling the color out, okay? So it's kind of dilute down here. Why is that? Because I'm going to put the lily pad, okay? And so you can have some harsh line, okay? Because as you're looking in the water, there is harsh line, and it's not always soft line. Actually, you don't want it to be all soft line. Now, but as you're putting the harsh line, make sure that they're horizontal, okay? Like, you know, you don't want to see vertical harsh line, right? That wouldn't make sense, okay? So make sure that they're horizontal, okay? Now, so isn't that pretty? And then we're gonna stop here because I'm gonna come down here with the lily pad, and so I'm gonna work on this section, okay? So one section at a time. Why do I do that? Because I love you guys, and I know that it is hard to just, like, you know, do the whole place, you know. So I like to put things into section as I design these, and so that as you paint along with me, then you can you can work on enjoying, you know, the process and enjoying the painting without feeling the pain of, you know, of nervousness, right? And I don't really like that to happen to you guys, okay? Okay, so it's coming down, right? And I want that to be consistent with this one, so I'm going to go in the praline green, which is darker green, and drop the color over there, okay? So just let it mingle and mix. Mingle and mix, okay? Over there. Ooh, isn't that fun? Okay, so it's like, because you're looking from underneath the crane, right? So of course it is not going to be very light pink. And sap green, okay, sap green by itself, it looks like that. Okay, that's the color sap green by itself, and it's a very, very pretty. Oh, I just love sap green. That's like, it's a very, very pretty. It looks like stained glass. Okay, and so talking about stained glass, I also have planned to do stained glass kind of style, you know, of painting with you guys. Okay, and so, you know, just stay tuned, okay, and keep with me, and keep doing these kind of fun thing. Okay, we will have a lot of fun, don't worry. Okay, and so, you know, just for variety, I'm coming in with some sap green, some praline green again. Okay, you know, Kathy, me, always tell you guys, I don't like things to be one color. You know, I like to just you know, mix it up. Okay, and so that's what I'm doing. Now we're coming down to approaching another lily. Okay, you can't see it because my pencil drawing over here is so faint, right? Because that's just good that we put the faint color there, because we don't want to, you know, our painting to have a lot of pencil showing, which actually it doesn't bother me, you know, but I don't know if it will bother you. Okay, so we're coming down here, right? So I'm leaving a little shape over there for another water lily. Okay, and so there's 1, 2, 3, I think somewhere around here, and then the rest is going to be lily pad, right? And so that's kind of fun. And so I saw, you know, I come home and I say, you know, just to, you know, I do that. I see natures, and then I will come back and say, you know, I'm going to okay, now let's talk to you about that. There's a lily pad head, but I'm not coming down from there. Okay, now I'm going back up from the bottom. We can do that. We can do whatever direction that we want. Okay, nobody's our police. You can come down if you wanted to, but if you're following me, then I will explain to you as we go why I'm doing that. Okay, because I still want the shape of the lily. Okay, right there, right? Okay, now so I'm going to, I don't want this harsh line, okay, so I'm using some kind of clean brush. It can have a little bit of sap green on it, and that will be okay, that will be fine. Okay, I'm getting this and just pushing it up, okay, and softening the line. Okay, over here it can be a little harsher, but we want the line to be softened. There's also a lily head over here. Okay, you know, that's just my design, and I think you guys usually just follow my design. You know, if you want to design your own, you know, put your lily pad, you know, here and there, different than me, of course, you're welcome to do so, okay? But, and so, you know, you're using quite a bit of water, right? Because you can see that when I drop this water down here, it just kind of disperses, you know, so I can use water. Now, but you know that as you use water, it's fine, okay? You can use as much water as you want. Okay, I'm going to give another lily head over here. Okay. Okay, but just remember that if you use a lot of water as you paint, then when it dry, it just kind of dry. It will be a little lighter, okay, than what you're seeing now. And so what you can do is you can go in and a second layer and drop more into it, or you can just you know, have lighter color water. You know, it's up to you how you like that. Okay, but I'm spending a little bit more time now. I just put some sap green and come in here. Okay, and do that. Okay, so just a suggestion of the water. Right now over here I'm going to just let it disperse to nothing. You know, just use water and let it disperse to nothing, because that's the edge of my painting. Now I do that, I let the things disperse to nothing, so that when you put a frame on, it's kind of pretty. You know, so that's what I learned to do. you know, through the years. Okay. Now there's one that's sticking up, you know, because some water lily go down and some go up, and so we wanted to, you know, do that. Okay. Now we wanted to have water line, but make sure they're horizontal if you want some marks on it. Okay. Doesn't have to be all without marks, but just make sure that they're horizontal so they, you know, you're keeping the nature of the water, right? Anyway, so I see, and I love the bayou, and I'm on the edge of my seats in the car, actually trying to see the best that I can, and so there was a chance, and we stopped a little bit and looked at the bayou, and then when we get to University of Florida, there was actually a really pretty pond, and the cranes were out. I think my husband said that, okay, so my boys were really good. We walked from the parking up to the University of Oregon. University of Florida, right? And then when it's time to go back down, my boys, meaning my husband and my son-in-law, decide to walk to the parking lot and keep us in an air conditioning room to wait for them. You know, so we wait for them in some way. I don't even know where we were waiting for them. And they come back and they say that the crane was gone. But so good thing we took the picture, you know. So what this darker color is nothing but the praline green, okay? And so we're going up now, okay? Going up to where? To the bottom of his behind. Okay, so since the sun is probably coming down from the top, right? So I don't want this this area to be very dark, okay? So in order for it to be not very dark, then we need to don't use the darker green or the indigo, okay? Don't use the darker green or the indigo, and just kind of, you know, use the more of the sap green. You can even go all the way to yellow, okay? And so we're going a little bit now. If I'm using the praline green, I'm using a very, very light touch, okay? Now, since with perspective-wise, this group of water lily over here are further away from the front, right? So they can be more like abstract. Does that make sense? More of an abstract, you know. So I still want to make space for them, and you see them in a minute, but they are more abstract, so they don't, the line doesn't have to be so fine, okay? So fine and detailed. They can be a little bit of muted color, you know, because as perspective wise, you know, you don't want the, if this is fine line like the front, then to your eye it just look like they're on the same level, which is not, and so I don't want that to happen, okay? Just a little bit, you know, I'm giving room to just maybe one head or two head the most, okay? And so everything is kind of muted. It's very, very, if I may say so, it's very kind of nice, watery, pretty, you know, image over here. And I really like that, you know. I like to do all kinds of things with you guys, you know, and share what I know to make things pretty. Now, we're back to the bottom, okay, of the crane, right? And so we use the background for you to see the shape of the crane. And so at the bottom of the crane, it still need to be not as dark as here, but it still need to be a little bit dark, okay? Okay, isn't that pretty? It's just, you know, I think, if I may say so, stick with me, okay? You can copycat me with my green mix, okay? Now, I just got an email from Diane. Hi, Diane. I haven't responded to the email because I'm, you know, spending most of my time trying to get this painting out, right, together. And so I will answer you. Let me see. Let me turn this off and I'll turn it back on, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do, Diane, is you wanted to know, and I think a lot of you guys really wanted to know. Okay, now I'm budding my paintbrush against the feather, right? So I need some kinds of a little bit more intense color so you can see the shape. See, the shape of the crane is coming out, right? We call this negative painting because that helps the, you know, we don't have to paint positively, especially positive painting is like you go in the shape of the crane and paint them. You know, if the paint were like paint color or like a, you know, like a flamingo, right? Negative painting is what we do when we do whites and we paint the background to bring out the shape of the object that we're painting, okay? So Diane asked me, and I thought about it. I say, okay, I am going to do a product, you know. I hope you guys understand that I am a very okay, let me see how I should put this. You know, when I give you guys a video, it's really good quality, and there's a lot of content, just like anyone, okay? Because I want you guys to, you know, really have fun, right? That you can use, okay? And so I don't do fluffy, you know, things, but and I always think that if I just spend a lot of time telling you guys what material I use, I consider those kind of fluff, you know. And so fluff meaning there's not much. Those are fluff video, and so I'm gonna do a fluff video. Not that fluff is bad, but you know, I'm going to tell you guys and bring out all my material and put it here, and then show you guys what are my things, because I thought that you guys had listened to me for a long time and you know what are some of the things that I use. But obviously I think having one video just focus on that will be good, okay? So once in a while I'll do some of those, and if I run into new material, okay? So if Diane, you know, I will respond to you. She wrote me in a Gmail, and then I'll respond to you on that, okay? And so that you will know, and then you can watch this painting too, or just paint along. Just paint along with me, okay? Because this is so good for our well-being, you guys, you know. And like I say, you know, I have to let me do all the hard work, okay? I have to get this done in a you know, time limit, but you guys don't have to. You guys don't have to. Just take your time. Take your time and have fun, okay? Now I'm gonna come over here. There's a you know, so I'm gonna do it a little bit fastly, okay? Quickly. Now my husband say, now Kathy, you are doing YouTube, you know, so just be careful. But I think people are very, very kind to me, and he know that you guys are very kind to me. You know, you don't pick on my English, you know, because it's my second language, and I'm sure that I have grammatical mistake flying all over the map, right? I know you guys know that. But if you understand me, then you accept the way I am. Because I have already mentioned to you guys that it is very hard to talk and paint at the same time, you know. You know, I'm not as careful with my grammar. I'm more, you know, focused on how to explain things and how to do things right and not make a lot of mistake in front of you guys, right? And so now I'm leaving a mark over here, okay? I'm leaving not a mark. I'm leaving a space for water lily over there, okay? And so I'm trying to be fast. I'm trying to be efficient, and so sometimes it's just the grammatical mistakes suffer, right? And thank you. And my husband say just you know, be a little more careful, you know. You know, he's just trying to be kind to me and make sure that I, you know, you guys know that I am actually know how to speak English. And so it's not as jarring, I guess, to your ear, right? I think that might be a good point. You know, I hope it doesn't jar. It's not that jarring to your ear, and that you can understand me, you know, in a pleasing way, okay? Okay, so look, I'm leaving a space, you know, so you know that I'm going to come back and paint a lily over there, okay? So I hope this painting doesn't take too long, but I know I complain, not complain, I just frustrated, you know, sometimes, but that's okay. I know you guys are not frustrated, and that makes me happy, okay? And so, look, isn't that pretty? Isn't that the water are just like a very nice, you know, scene of water here, you know, as we're going through, okay? We're a little more careful than what we usually do the background because we are painting the water, okay? And so, but it is very pleasing and happy, and so that makes me happy. And so we were at the lily pond, and you know, lily ponds are everywhere, and they actually have water lily in it. I was going to tell you guys that because you know why? I like to go up to Yellowstone, and they have lily ponds too. But usually there's no water lily in that. You know why? Because I think the moose came down and ate them. To be honest, I think the moose ate them all, and so it was very fun for me to be able to see, right? And so look at what she's doing is she probably sees something over here, so she's trying to go over there and look at it, right? Okay, so let's put some watery area over here so we don't and so she saw something, and so she's going in to eat, and so that's very fun, right? And so that's what we're trying to portray. Okay, still water, still painting water over here. Okay, the pond or the, I don't know if now I haven't like really if any of you are watching from Florida or anybody with climates, you can correct me and tell me. Actually, I saw the water lily on the bayou, you know, but I thought that the bayou is a little bit of salty, so I don't know why the water lily are doing well there. So if any of you you don't want it to tell me, you can, you know, leave leave something you know, on the YouTube to tell me, you know, what is actually happening to the vegetation there. Okay, and why are there so many cranes there? Well, I know the cranes, you know, as I saw in San Diego, I saw cranes right at the beach. So I know that cranes like salt water. They are not, so bayou is a little bit salty, right? Now, okay, so I'm going to just leave this part and leave this part over here and finish up later. But over here, I wanted to do some lily pad, okay? Now, in an abstract way, not really that abstract, but in a way that we don't need to worry about too much, okay? So I'm going to go in with a sap green, okay? So why am I doing this over here and show you? Because I believe that as my design, my brain is telling me that the crane saw something over here to eat, okay? Now, we don't have to draw a lily pad now. So when we do lily pad, you remember the perspective, okay? We are going horizontal, okay, into the painting. So don't draw a big circle. You might better to do an oval, okay? Okay, so if you do a big circle as if you're looking from above, then it will be wrong, right? And so we don't want that to happen to us, okay? And so you are, you know, almost painting like a disc. Okay, so little Miss Crane over here finds something and she's checking it out. And she's checking it out. Okay, now look at that. Okay, and so I just put some quite intense of sap green over here. Okay, okay, so that's what I did. Okay, so she's like over there checking it out. Okay, and so now let's go into the water lily. Okay, isn't this fun? It's all coming together. Isn't that fun? And so you got a lot of practice on the what I'm doing. Let me get a drink. Hard to keep talking for an hour. Okay, now, so let's do this one over here, because since I'm, you know, leaving so much space, okay? So the first thing, I'm using this number 2. I'm going into the indigo now, okay? Indigo dark, indigo green color, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the leaf in a quite an intense. Now, I actually have a water lily in my YouTube channel, okay? So if you guys wanted to see, that was one of the first one. I didn't really know how to, you know, how to do the, you know, to do a YouTube video, but nonetheless, it is a good one. And so you guys can go and take a look if you wanted to, okay? So what I just paint is, oh, I actually have my tablet open, but I haven't looked at it, you know, on some reference picture, okay? Now, and so you can, ooh, be careful, okay? Over here, I'm putting my hand on the lily pad, okay? And that's not good, okay? And so I'm going to slowly put a stem on it, okay? Okay, that's what I'm doing, okay? And so meanwhile, I need to let it dry, right? Because if I, you know, put the pink, which is what I'm going to do, then it will totally destroy it, right? But not too bad because, you know, in nature really does facilitate us, so don't have to worry too much, okay? So now I'm going to, this is another lily. I'm gonna just go in there and paint the green or the greenery that's underneath here, okay? And because the reason why I paint that, I use the indigo is because the darker it is, and it will bring out the is tonal value, right? I'm getting really dark tone over here, so it will bring out the beautiful pink color. I'm going to use oh my gosh, everything just like skipped my head. I'm going to use okay, just give me a second. You know, the paint color that I use all the time. Okay, that's what I'm gonna use for the lily. Okay, the one that I saw actually in Florida is actually kind of they are more white with a little bit of yellow. Okay, now since this is not a magenta, okay, see, it comes back to me. My brain is just a little slower, you know, but it does come back, which is great, you know, because I do worry about when my brain never come back, you know, the words, then I'm in trouble. But I'm not in trouble yet, so you guys don't worry about me, okay? I'm still going to be able to make fun, you know, fun, relaxing, and fun painting with you guys for many, many years, okay? I'm only 56 years old, so you guys don't have to worry about me getting any kind of disease yet, you know, but pray for me that I don't, you know, because I wouldn't like that, okay? Now, because it's the background is the water pond, right? And so I'm going in and make cuts into the space. And so what does these cuts do? These cuts will bring out the shape of the water lily better. Okay, so that's why I'm going to make cuts, you know, in there. So what does the cuts mean? That means what it is just it's just that the lily petals, you know, are not round, right? They are each individual petals, and so we kind of need to kind of suggest that, but not a lot. Okay, not don't need to suggest a lot of it, but just a little bit, so that it's more believing to the eyes, you know, right? That's what artists does. We're trying to, you know, put what the world is like into two-dimensional, and so we had to be careful about how we choose to portray ourselves. And so, but I, you know, in order, you know, I make an artistic decision that, you know, even though the water lily that I saw mainly there's a really pretty curve over here, so I wanted to maintain that, okay? They are white with yellow, but I still wanted to do magenta, you know. But you will see that it's just a little bit of magenta, okay? Now, I don't want the area to be dirty, you know, so I smooth out, you know, the line over here, okay? Smooth out the green color, so it's not like so busy. You don't want to be so busy right around, but we are making it busy because we needed to work on that area, right? But so the way I do it is I soften it as we go, okay? Make a little bit of color over here so that it's consistent, because the only thing that separates this part with this part of painting is just the sticky part of the leg of the crane, right? And so we need to make sure that it's believable. If there's a line, you know, coming through, then you need to make sure that line come through, you know, the section. Does that make sense? The section area, okay? Okay, and just a little bit over here, then we can go into our you know, I have so much light over here, it's kind of funny. The light is so bright, and I'm doing it in the middle part of the day, right? Like early morning, I guess, somewhere in the morning. And sometimes I have runners. I can see out of my little window. There are walkers and runners. Some of them actually look into my window. I think what they're thinking, maybe they think I'm growing marijuana, you know, because it's so bright and it's such a white blue light, right? it's good for plants to grow. And so I think they actually look into here, trying to look into my window. And one day I might probably get a knock and say, you know, ma'am, what are you doing? You know, from some of the the runner, and I have to tell them, no, I'm not growing marijuana. I'm just filming YouTube. I think some of them might know, you know, but I am very, very fussy with my light. You know, if you guys don't know that, because I just really, really want a good and bright light for you guys, you know, to see. And so, you know, I hope they don't call the police on me. And then, but if they do, I will just, like, you know, invite them to see my painting area, my little studio here, so they know that I am not a threat to society illegally, you know. Anyway, that was just a side note, okay? Okay, now I'm going to use the same paintbrush and going into my magenta. Now I do remember. Now, I want to leave some white area over here because of the sun, okay? And you will see that that's very pleasing, okay? And so I'm going to start my magenta from the middle, okay? Now I'm just like doing strokes, so this is very easy, right? Because this is not a detail water lily plant, okay? And so I can just do stroke here, and then I come in and soften it. Now as I soften it, I don't want it to go all the way to the edge, okay? I'm going to leave some white area. Okay, do you see that? Isn't that pretty? And that's it. Now I might go back to magenta and put a stroke here and there. You know, to what I'm painting is I'm painting shadow again, but using the magenta to paint the shadow, okay? And then I don't go all the way to the edge, okay? And so it will look very good, I promise you. Okay, there's a lily area over here, and so I'm doing the same thing. I'm going in with strokes, okay, and then I'm going to just soften it, okay. I think I'm going to zoom in a little bit, maybe for you guys to see it a little bit better, okay. And then just, Kathy, remember to zoom back out, okay. So it's just like strokes, okay, going through this way and that way, just suggesting that there is a water lily right there, okay? And then I will soften it, and don't go to all the way to the edge, okay? Okay, and doesn't that look pretty? Okay, but I'm not done, you know, so I need to keep going, and I'm going to keep going back to the magenta, and keep doing the magenta area, okay? And so you can see that, right? Because this is the focal point, my little crane. My water lily really are not the focal point, but it need to be there because the color will just make things look very pretty, okay? Now I'm looking at this, I say, oh, there need to be some more intense color here and there. Now I can go back in, you know, to do that, okay? Isn't that pretty? You know, and you will know, right? You tell me that you know these are water lily, or they can be called lotus. My father lived in area in China that's like that, but not as hot as not as further down south in the latitude as Florida, but they have water lily too. And so there in their village they actually harvest the water lily. They have roots, and the roots are huge, right? If the lily pond is huge, the root is like about this big, you know, about the, you know, the size of my arm, okay? And so the way that I can get those roots to eat is I have to go to a Chinese store to buy it, okay? Now you see that I leave that. And so my father told me when I was young, you know, because he lived in area like that, and so in the village area where they have lily ponds everywhere. Now that's why the Chinese artists like love to paint water lily, right? And so the lily ponds are just huge. They go on for acres, right? And so it's really, really fun. If you can find a video, you can watch it. And so what they do is like the woman like will go buy their, you know, their food, you know, they're cooking for the evening, and they will just go pay a fee, and you can actually go into the lily pond. and find you yourself, go dig up the water lily roots, and it's supposed to be really, really fun. And then you take what you want, and then you pay for it, right? And so my father, one time we were going to get water lily roots because we wanted to put it into a hot pot to make something for dinner, and he told me about that. And it's actually kind of, it really is kind of fun, because that's the way they eat. They have ponds, and then, sometimes they share and sometimes they pay. It's just, really fun. And they go in there and they have to yank it out, part of the roots. But then the water lily is so robust that you don't really have to worry that you take the root and they die. It's, I think American will call it sustainable. It's just a really good way of eating, right? Now I'm just going to put a little bit just like over places like that. Okay, so that looks like, oh, sorry, you missed the whole thing. It's like a blossom. Okay, I can do that. I can just put blossom here and there, so that, to show that it's a very, very prolific lily pond. Okay, and so yeah, that's how they do things. Okay, so one time my father, actually, when I was in Hong Kong, because I wasn't born in China, my father was a refugee, and my mom too, to Hong Kong. They escaped the communists. And so we live in Hong Kong, and we will go to this place because the New Territory is where things happen. They grow vegetable, and I have the best Chinese kale that I had in all my whole life. It was so tender, and so I am a very, very I'm a very lover of a vegetable, and because my parents trained me that way. Since I was very young, they take me and we get really good vegetable, and they are just a master in fixing good vegetable. So I'm very, very grateful for them. Because when I had COVID, I just had it, a month or two ago. I remember praying and tell my Father in heaven, Father, I really do not want to lose my taste bud for liking vegetable. And I didn't. I was so happy I didn't. Okay, now this is the, pretty much the last part. Okay, we are going to paint lily pad. Okay, the lily pad under these lily. Okay, under the flowers. Okay, just like this lily pad over here. Okay. I don't know if you can see me. I'm pushing myself against the. You can hear against my light over here. Okay, so the same, okay, doing this, okay? So imagine this is the flower. You don't want to be painted like you're looking down, right? You want to paint it sideways, okay? So that's what we're doing the lily pad, okay? And so for the lily pad to have a different shade of green, I like to drop some, when it's still wet, I like to drop some indigo in there, okay? Okay, so it's like a very muted, like you see it and you don't, but it's there because you know that, right? We're putting it next to the water lily. Of course, you know that. What else would this like vegetation be, right? Other than a lily pad, right? It's very fun. I really want you guys to really take advantage of this, opportunity to just do it. If you can, okay, because it's very wet, okay, the way I'm doing this. I am coming in here with the green. Now see, I don't want the blue there, I want some green there, okay, and so there's some pigment, right? And in order to get the pigment to move, I use water, and so it created this kind of muted lily pad, and it's really, really fun. So I wanted you guys to, because it's a good practice for something. But not all of my video, to be honest, that I am planning for a certain kind of practice. But, my philosophy is, as we practice, as we just keep painting, like I develop all these ideas for you guys to follow me. as you paint, then you will learn. And as you learn, then it doesn't have to, every painting have to be specific on a certain exercise, right? Or certain techniques. You know, the more you do it, you will eventually learn all the technique that there is, and also develop some technique for yourself that you don't know is there. That happened to me actually quite a lot. And so, you know, when you have places like the, you know, with a lot of farm in China, people learn to eat vegetable, right? Meat, you know, China ration their meat. I don't know if they still do, but when my father and mother were during the sad period where they have no meat, you know, okay, we can put it all the way to the little sticky part of the leg of the crane. Okay, isn't that fun? And then I'm doing some line because that would just suggest that there's water, you know, among the lilies, right? So fun, you know, and it just like it appear in front of your eye, right? And so people they learn to, you know, do vegetable a lot. And one time you know, somebody want me to teach some of our missionary that are going out on missions because you know, people like my vegetable, and they wanted me to teach for the people in the church, in our church, and I taught them how to taught the young men. They're missionaries, so they're about 18, 19 years old, and they, you know, I teach them how to do it with garlic and stir fry, and they just love it. They say, "Oh wow, I didn't know that you can cook vegetable that way. You know, it really tastes good." And even my first son-in-law, my second son-in-law has some Japanese because his parent like to cook Japanese, and so he knows some of the Japanese. But my first son-in-law does not know a lot of Asian cooking, and so one time I cooked green beans for him, for the family. Oh wow, isn't this fun? Do you see the crane moving along in the lily pot? Okay, now I will just leave you guys here. I think I have shown you everything that is fun, so I'm just gonna go in and finish some lily pad over here, and put another watercolor lily over here, and then just kind of light green color up top. Okay, so you can see that, you know, the crane painting is pretty much done. Okay, let me back it out just a little bit for you guys. Okay, now of course I will have the line drawing for you. Okay, and please go over there and get your line drawing, and then you can have fun, and then you can paint this along with me. Okay, I appreciate you coming here. I also appreciate you subscribing to me, and if you haven't, I will hope that you will, because that's my response, that's my input of how much you guys actually like my stuff, right? And so, oh, I have dispersed some of the sepia, so I'm gonna go in and sharpen his beak a little bit. Okay, and so thank you so much, and tell me what you think about this, and subscribe to me, and you guys just have a relaxing time and learn how to paint along with me and have fun. Okay, and I will, of course, I have so many things that is going to keep coming, and you know, so we will have a lot of fun in this channel. That's my promise to you, and so you guys have a very, very good day. Okay, and school is back, and so I hope you guys for those of you who have children, will begin to make more time, you know, to take some time just for yourself and for your happiness and well-being, to do some of the painting with me. And I will see you when I see you next time.